Hi, everyone. I'm Crider back here again. We're going to talk a little bit about Sunday, going to church on Sunday. It's my personal opinion it's a bad idea for your health and possibly the other members of your congregation. For some reason, the governor is afraid to tell you that you can't go to church, and hopefully you won't have too many options. First, let's talk about the Catholics. Bishop Barbarito from the Catholic Church and the diocese of this area has closed all of the Catholic churches in the entire diocese, and I don't know how many there are, but it's all the way from Palm Beach up here through Indian River County. And many of the local Protestant churches are closed as well. And for you Catholics who would like to celebrate Mass, you can celebrate Mass on CW34. That's Comcast here on Vero Beach, channel 435, every Sunday at 10:30. Bishop Barbarito does that, and I don't know whether it will be live or, well, it'll be a recording, but it is on at 10:30 every Sunday morning. We also have two Catholic radio stations in our area, 98.3 in Palm Beach. That's WPBV as in Victor, stands for the Palm Beach Voice. And in Stewart, we have 100.1 WJPP. Both are online as well. Neither of them, I don't think you'll be able to receive them very well up here. I can get WJP sometimes in my car as I'm driving around. But they're online, the radio stations. WPBVradio.com is the Palm Beach station. I'm going to put this up. You'll see it on the screen. And WJPPFM.com. WJPPFM.com celebrates Mass daily at 8 a.m. All you have to do is go onto that website, WJPPFM.com, go down to the middle of the screen and click on the Listen Live button, and there it is, and they do a 1-hour Mass. It's on EWTN, Eternal Word Radio Network. And honestly, I haven't looked for churches open this weekend. However, many local churches do stream their services. Remember, this weekend is Palm Sunday. They may rebroadcast last year's Palm Sunday service. According to the Gospels, Jesus Christ rode his donkey into Jerusalem. He rode in on a donkey because a donkey stands for peace and a horse stands for war. Celebrating people there laid down their cloaks and small branches of trees in front of him, singing part of Psalm 118, verses 25 through 26. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. We bless you from the house of the Lord. Okay, folks, it's story time. So here's what happened. When my girls were young teenagers, 12, 13 years old, I took them on a trip to Europe, just the two girls, and we went to Switzerland, did a little skiing in Switzerland, went to London and went to Paris, and we ended up in Rome, and we decided we were going to go to St. Peter's. Now, my older daughter was then just a new teenager. She was going to a Catholic school. We are not Catholic. You need to understand this. You'll see how it fits into the program. But she wanted to see St. Peter's. I wanted to see St. Peter's. And our driver, who was driving us around, also was an usher at St. Peter's. So he was able to take us and show us where to go and what to do and so forth. So when we got to St. Peter's, the first thing we did is do what normal tourists do and went to a gift shop, and we bought some gifts for some of our Catholic friends. And, of course, the nuns in the gift shop said, would you like to have these blessed by the Pope? Well, see, that doesn't mean a lot to people that aren't Catholic, having it blessed by the Pope. But we assumed that since we were there, it would probably be a good idea. Who knows, for an extra $100, you get it blessed by the Pope, but that's a cheap price to pay after you're already there. So you give the stuff you just bought to these nuns, and they said, well, it'll be at your hotel tomorrow. We told them we were leaving the next day to go somewhere else. And as we walked away, Lisa said, well, Dad, you just gave away the stuff we bought. We'll never see that stuff again. We were a little skeptical about how we were being treated when we were traveling because we had several different little problems along the way. But nonetheless, we had faith that hopefully those presents would reappear before we left. So then Daniel, our driver, took us over into St. Peter's. And when we got into St. Peter's, we were noticing that the lights weren't really on, but it was all set up to do something. As it turns out, Daniel pointed out to us that they were having a very special Mass that day, and the Pope, that would have been Pope John Paul II, was giving a very special Mass, and it was a special day for us to be there. I honestly truly can't tell you what that day was and why it was so special, but it was definitely very special. So he told us where to stand, and we stood up very close to when the Pope would walk by with his ceremonial garb, and we would get to see him. It would be a really good spot. He got us kind of one of the best spots in the place in order to observe all this taking place. So we were standing there for about 15 minutes, and the next thing we notice is that there are 3 nuns trying to get into our space. I mean, these nuns, it's pretty hard to tell a book by its cover when you see a nun. The way they're dressed, you're not really quite sure how big they are. Well, I can tell you, these were like linebackers. These ladies started elbowing myself and my children. These were Polish nuns who wanted to see their Polish Pope, and they wanted to get up really close to be able to see them. And they didn't really care what they did to get in our place. And they started pushing and shoving. And my daughter says to me, okay, Dad, come on. Show us what you got. Show us what am I going to do? Go out there and beat up the nuns? Of course not. Somehow or other, I managed to figure out a way that I could manipulate my way around a little bit, and I had to do a little pushing and tugging and so forth, and we finally ended up getting pretty much up where we were before, somewhat sharing the space with these nuns who weren't too pleased with the way we were treating them, and I used some of my best German on them. I don't speak German, I don't speak Polish, so God knows what I was saying. However, I'm telling you the story because I don't know if you've ever been in St. Peter's when the place is totally lit. Normally, they only have a few lights on when you go in there, and it looks pretty musty and dirty. All of a sudden, bang, the organ starts playing, the choir starts singing, the lights come on, the pomp and circumstance, and in comes the Pope. And for a non-Catholic, it was incredibly inspiring, to say the least. I mean, brought tears to my eyes because I love good organ music, especially a big organ in a big cathedral like that. And the pomp and circumstance and the people all around and everybody was singing. It was absolutely a wonderful day, and a day we will never forget. And it's interesting that when we left, as we were walking out, the nuns did come over, and one nun said to me, "You're a good daddy. You're a good daddy. You're a good papa. You're a good papa." And little did she know. You could tell how much that nun knew. Nonetheless, we left and we went over and got in the car and went back. And the next day we're getting ready to leave. And Lisa said, "Well, Dad, told you, we're never going to see those presents we bought for our friends, right?" We're in the car. The car's all packed up with our stuff, and we're on our way to the train station. Here come the nuns, not the nuns that were the linebackers, but the nuns from the store, running down the street with the packages, and they gave them to us. So point is, you got to have faith. You got to have faith. That's all there is to it. I remember working in Denver one time and was having a really, really bad day. And my business manager, nice gal by the name of Diane Hudson, came up to me, and I was just absolutely coming apart at the seams. And she grabs me and she shakes me and she says, "Where is your faith?" Totally had forgotten about where my faith was at that time. Anyway, faith is a good thing. I say all of that to say this. You have to have faith that we're going to get through this pandemic. This COVID-19 is going to go away, and everything is going to end up being very good. So I hope I didn't bore you with this, and I know it was very easy. All you have to do is push the stop button and go on to something else, but maybe you wanted to see how it was going to turn out. Thank you very much. Have a really, really wonderful Sunday, and enjoy your day. Be safe. Spend time with your family. If you like the video, hit the like. If you would like to subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and the next time I do one of these, you'll get it as well. Have a great day.